right, this is episode 2 of Heavy to Hungry podcast. Two former fat guys turned into fitness coaches, cutting through the bullshit. We learned the hard way. Now we give you what actually works. My name is Selly, or Selly Hypertrophy, and I am joined by
Hi, I'm Carlos Gonzalez, and I personally have lost 155 pounds. Sully has lost.
130 pounds.
We're getting used to the Q parts. We're getting back. Yeah, we're getting used to the Q parts. But
We'll
yeah,
get there.
but we're just two. We like to say, not like for. I don't want to say former fat guys because that's an actual branding of somebody. But we're two guys that used to be fat. And so one thing that we're gonna kind of hop in and talk about today is some fad diets that we've heard of growing up. For me, I've always heard about like all the carnivore, the keto. Keto was a big one because whenever I was growing up, actually, my parents forced me to go to like the doctor for how fast I was gaining weight, and then I had to go to weight loss therapy and stuff like that. So like keto was not like it wasn't something that I like that wasn't talked about. It was always talked about. Every time I went to the doctor, keto was the number one thing that was talked about. How about you?
Yeah, keto is definitely one of the most popular fad diets I've seen. And if anyone watching this doesn't know what keto is, it's basically a no carb diet. The thinking there is that if you eliminate carbs, your body will start to produce ketones and use that as energy. And people think that it helps you burn fat more efficiently. Um, so keto is one you've probably heard and one you've probably believed because we've heard of it and we believed it ourselves. But we're going to talk about some of the issues with keto and some of these other fad diets. So let's get right into it. So keto, when you go low carb, right? I'll give kind of a sciencey breakdown of it and then I'll let you get into your personal story with it. But real quick, when you deplete your body of carbs, it's extremely hard to get in an efficient workout day in and day out over the long period of time, right? So it's harder to put on muscle on a keto diet, number one. Number two, it can make fat loss harder because you're cutting out an entire food group. You're cutting out foods you genuinely enjoy, so it's going to be hard to stick to your diet long term. And number three, with all that being said, keto does work if you follow it over a long period of time. It is just not sustainable for 99% of people. So tell me about some of the bad experiences you've had with keto, because I sure have had many.
Well, with me, so I'm trying to think. What was a good? So I tried eating keto for about, I think, when I was younger, I tried eating keto for about a week, but that's because I was forced by the doctor and by my parents. But then after that, like, all I was eating was like lunch meat, really just lunch meat, because I didn't really understand keto. Like, in my head back then, especially when I was younger, was no carbs. Pretty much, I wasn't eating bread, nothing. And even to when I was still learning about earlier in my weight loss journey, I don't think I've never really took like a keto approach. It was more of a just starvation approach. I just starved myself, and then from there was eating like Greek yogurt for a couple months. Um, but that's pretty much my take on it. I was eating just a bunch of lunch meat. It was awful because I mean, the thing about that also is I didn't know what like good sources of fat were. So there weren't my hormones, there weren't my like how I felt, my energy levels for the day. So like I was just shooting myself in the foot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that sounds awful. And I had a similar experience with keto, if you will. I didn't do keto for the sake of ketosis or whatever. I just cut out carbs because that's just how I thought I could lose weight. And I'll say it right off the bat, it actually did work for me at first, right? But there's always that at first portion. It worked for me at first. I did low carb or keto for most of my 100-pound weight loss journey. But the problem was once I started introducing carbs back in, I couldn't control myself because I actually never learned what carbs are meant for, why I'm eating carbs, and what they do so that I could have a controlled amount. I just thought that carbs were bad. So when you associate a food with bad, it makes you more likely to binge on it. So
Yeah, because also with that, it's like no one explained what carbs were. Like the whole like whenever I would go to the weight loss clinics, it was always like there would be pictures talking about like carbs and stuff, and it would always pertain to like junk food. It was always
Yep.
like donuts, what was it, sodas, things like that, like burgers, things like that. Like it never really explained what carbs were. Like potatoes are carbs, rice are carbs, bread is carbs.
Right. And then when potatoes and rice and bread and all the better or healthier carbs, if you will, get grouped in with the junk food, we just grow up thinking that all carbs are bad for someone trying to lose weight. Um, but that couldn't be further from the case. Carbs gives us energy just to live and survive. Like you just feel better when you have carbs. If you're someone in a fat loss journey, you're probably lifting weights. If you're carb depleted, you're not going to be able to push yourself as hard in the gym. You're going to get glycogen depletion related fatigue. And all that means is when there's no carbs in your body, you fatigue out quicker in the gym and you can't push yourself as hard as you possibly can. So, an alternative to keto, if you still want to keep your carbs lower, just to transition out of it, right? Because we're not fans of all or nothing mentalities. If you wanted to transition yourself out of keto, just introduce 50 to 100 grams of carbs a day and decrease your fats slightly. And then once you do that for a while, then you can do that again. You could start playing with your protein intake. You don't need 2 to 3 times per body weight of protein, right? So, what kind of diet alternatives would you say would be helpful for people if they're on keto and they want to weigh out without going crazy and overboard on carbs?
My thing would just be like bring out the old food group. Think about it as like a pie chart kind of thing. Like have like do 33% protein, 33% carbs, 33% fat. Introduce yourself like that. And then from there as you go going on, just adjust it. If you want more protein, get more protein. If you feel like higher carbs works for you, then do higher carbs. But the thing about it is you need to have like a healthy ratio of everything. You shouldn't just cut out one whole portion because you feel like you're going to get to the finish line faster. Like just because you pull one food group out of your diet doesn't mean you're going to finish there faster. It's actually
Hmm.
you're just ruining your chances of getting there at a decent time.
Right. Right, because if you take out a food group, you're a lot more likely to increase your other food groups, right? People who cut out carbs are way more likely to overconsume on fats and protein, right? Just to get those calories in. Um, but speaking of keto, I just really wanted to touch on carnivore because I know carnivore is a really trending diet right now. Um, just
See,
tell me your thoughts.
I'm gonna be honest. Like they, to me, all fad diets are the same thing. All you're doing is pulling one food group. I mean, with keto and carnivore, what's the difference? Like, I mean, it's just what, like you. I mean, with you, like, what is the difference? Like, can you tell me?
I guess the only difference is when you're doing keto, I guess you could have more, I don't know, different fat sources, I guess different protein sources, but it's
See, I
still
guess.
keto.
See, I guess with keto, you can have like vegetable oil or your seed oils and stuff. Compared to like with carnivore, it's just whatever
Just saturated
byproduct.
fat.
Yeah, byproduct of an animal.
Yeah.
And my whole thing with that is just like I get the whole take. I understand from a fat man's perspective. It's like, oh man, I can eat a lot of like protein is like low in calorie. I
Mhm.
can eat a lot of protein and I'll feel full. But if you're eating just like protein and fats slow down the digestion of protein. Protein's already taking forever to digest. If you're
Mhm.
slowing it down with fats, where's your energy going to be pulled from?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think you said it really really well. Like I was literally this person. The person you're talking about, that was me when I first started, and I would try to get my family to do it because in my head I'm like, this is the way, like because it was working for me at the time, and then I just failed to realize that it's just not a long-term sustainable thing. Just for reference, right now I'm in prep, my bodybuilding prep, and I'm about 7 or 8 weeks in. I've been eating no less than 250 grams of carbs a day, every single day, and I'm losing weight every single week. So, guys, just just wanted to make it clear it's entirely possible to do it without cutting out carbs. And I actually have a high carb diet in an
And,
aggressive fat loss phase right now.
and there are some circumstances for things like that. Like keto, like if there's a gluten allergy and stuff, I could understand why
Sure.
you'd have to have like a keto diet. When it comes to carnivore, maybe you're doing a bodybuilding prep and you're getting to the last 2 weeks and it's like you just can't have any carbs.
Sure. Yep.
Like I get it. There's a time and place for it, but what we're talking about is sustainable weight loss.
100%. And then just to add a finishing touch onto why I don't think carnivore is the best option, you're not getting all your micronutrients in. Eggs and steak cover a lot of the bases. I'm very aware of that. But you're not getting any vitamin C, you're not getting any magnesium. I made a video on this. There's plenty of other micronutrients that you're not getting in the carnivore diet that are essential for optimal function. Um, and then the last thing I'll say about this topic is I have a lot of people telling me, well, Sally, yeah, the carnivore diet's not perfect, but it's better than how most people eat. I actually agree with that. I mean, it's probably better than just eating processed junk all the time, but it's like comparing apples and oranges here. Like, there's better than, like, you don't have to just settle for better when you could go for the best thing that works for you, right?
I
Would you
like to
agree with that?
I like to explain it kind of like you getting to work. Say you take this path to go to work. It takes you about 20 minutes to get there. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the path. There's traffic, there's like kids are crossing the road. Like it just takes you 20 minutes to get there. Now they're building a super highway to your work and instead of 20 minutes it's 10 minutes. You can take 10 minutes or you can take 20 minutes. Regardless, you're going to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
There's just one way it's going to be more efficient than the other.
Right. Right. As long as you're in a calorie deficit or as long as you're driving down the path, you're going to get there. But both come at a cost. The
Mhm.
super highway probably you have to pay for.
Yep.
For example, if you do carnivore or if you do it the balanced way, you're going to have to pay in terms of maybe you won't feel as stuffed all the time, but you're gonna function a lot better as a human being. You're gonna feel better throughout the day, right? There's pros and cons to everything.
And I like to say, just go ahead and learn it once. Like if you do a calorie deficit, like the thing about calorie deficit, and you want to try carnivore and you want to try keto, at the end of the day, you're gonna understand that it's a calorie deficit.
Right.
But if you start off learning keto, carnivore, and things, then switch to a calorie deficit, you're gonna kind of realize you kind of wasted your time.
Yep. Yeah, man. All right. Well, that's enough keto talk. It's kind of starting to piss me off at this point. So let's pick another fad diet. Do you have one in mind, or do you want me to pull from this list?
You can pull from the list because I can't even think of any of them.
Okay. One good one that I want to talk about is including cheat meals in your diet every weekend or something, like Friday night cheat meal. What do you think about cheat meals? Should people include them in their diet? What are the good and bad parts about having it?
It depends on your goals. So I like to say an example is I have a client. His name's German. He's a manager at Chick-fil-A, so he's like there for for a long period of time. So a lot of his food comes from Chick-fil-A, and to some people that's cheat meal, but he gets a lot of grilled chicken and he's still losing weight. But his whole thing is he's not trying to lose weight like very fast. And the thing that comes at a cost of his work is he doesn't get to spend time with his wife. So what we do is on Saturday it's more of a controlled cheat meal. It's not anything crazy. I mean, like it's like he'll go to like a nice steakhouse or things like that. Like kind of expensive, because the thing about expensive also is like you kind of it's added value. It's kind of like added value. Like you know that you're going to a steakhouse that you're going to spend $75 on, and it's like one of those things where you can't live that lifestyle every day, so you're not going to
Right.
eat it every day. And so that's, to me, that's kind of where he can, like, where we meet in the middle, where he gets to have a cheat meal every weekend, where it's kind of controlled, but it's to have time with his wife.
Right. So the reward isn't the cheat meal per se, the reward is getting to spend time with his wife, right?
Yes.
Right. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about is when we treat a cheat meal at the end of the week as like this big reward for being so hardworking and disciplined throughout the week, we start putting negative connotations towards bad foods. And by bad foods, I mean like higher carb, higher fat foods. I don't think it should be this way. I think that if you have a good diet, if you have a good coach, if you understand how nutrition works, you can include bad foods throughout the week, like without even sweating it really. Like, dude, I eat cereal pretty much every day just because I want to, like, because I like it. I just change it up a little bit, right? So instead of doing regular milk, I'll do skim milk and then some water to just make the calories a little less and the volume a little higher. But I just use regular cereal, right? So the point here is when we start putting negative connotations of bad foods, it just becomes the cycle of Monday through Friday I'm perfect, Saturday, Sunday I cheat, and then it's just a cycle of up and down and up and down. And this person likely is over consuming their calories on the weekend, which balances their energy limit out throughout the week, which doesn't put them in a deficit. So it's kind of counterintuitive.
And my thing is also is like what labels food bad food? It's kind of like the media. I mean, kind of when I like to think of when the Obama era was coming through, kind of how the clean slate in the cafeterias helped to pushing for healthier food and stuff, and like there's in reality, it all food is a like a kind of I like to think of it as like a unit of energy. It's
Hmm.
calories.
That's all it is. Yep.
And like if you go like to Europe and stuff, they have a lot of the same things. It's just that a lot of their stuff is just lower calorie. Like it's just not as high as calorie as our stuff, and and a lot of our stuff is just readily available. We have a lot of fast food here, and it's like we have become impatient to
100%.
eat to like just waiting for food. Like I've fallen victim of it. I mean, like there's been times where I'll go to fast food and I'll wait maybe 10 to 20 minutes, and I'll be like, dang, like this is like it's like it annoys me. But I get to thinking, it's like in reality, like why is that annoying me when you cook, it takes me 30 to 40 minutes to cook.
Honestly, yeah, I would even say it doesn't even have to take that long. You know, for me, I eat the same stuff all the time, so I've kind of mastered my cooking. This X meal, it takes me like 10, 15 minutes at this point. But if you're a beginner, yes, it might take you a little bit longer. But to your point about fast food in European countries, those people are walking to the fast food
Mm.
restaurant. You know what I mean? They're not driving, so they're expending 1 to 2 to 300 extra calories to get there, which cancels some of it out. So another big problem is people just don't move as much, which we talked about this a lot in the previous episode. But as far as cheat meals, the last thing I want to touch on it is, guys, we don't have to treat food as good or bad. Food is just fuel, right? There are some foods that are more enjoyable, some foods that are less enjoyable. If we if we're able to include every food group in controlled amounts, you're going to be much less likely to binge on food. You're going to be much less likely to cycle through eating perfect throughout the week and then pooping the bed on the weekends, and you are going to be able to fit in some fun foods here and there.
And we're not telling you you have to completely like cut those kind of foods out. Like, I mean, I've had clients where we start out, the first thing we do is if they had like if they're eating out 3 times a day, we limit it to like let's try doing twice a day. Like just
Hmm.
small changes. Like it doesn't have to be like all of it a flip of a switch. And just think about it kind of as like kindergarten. Like when you were in kindergarten, you had to do 1 plus 1 equals 2. Find out how many calories you have to eat in a day. You don't even gotta weigh anything. Just that's the thing. The power about the internet is like if you like. I'm gonna say to get the most accuracy, weighing. But just looking up, it's as easy as looking up what you're eating and just having an idea and trying to plug in. Yes, you're not. It's not going to make extremely accurate, but it's going to put your foot in the door to start.
Yes, sir. Completely agree. Couldn't have said it better. All right, we're getting approaching 20 minutes here, so I wanted to talk about just two more quick topics. Number one meal a day or intermittent fasting. What are your thoughts on people waiting all day and then just going all out on one meal at night in hopes of fat loss?
My thing about that is, like, my big question is why. Like, I get it. I get why I did it. Like, I thought about it as, like, oh, I get, like, one chance to just pig out and everything.
Yeah,
But, like, I get to thinking about that, or OMAD, and it's just, like, how bad you feel. Like, your
yeah,
whole thing about losing weight and getting better is, like, having a normal routine. And I always kind of talk about, especially with my like guys that are married or about to have a family, like, is that something you really want to teach your kids? Like, is that really what you're gonna do with your wife?
hmm
Like, are y'all just gonna have like agree and be like, okay, let's eat all this food just for dinner? Like, I mean, like living a normal life is like having breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Even then, it's like if you don't want to have breakfast because you don't want to wake up early, lunch and dinner.
all right,
Like, you can easily split it up, or even brunch, lunch, dinner. I don't know,
right,
something like that. Like, but it doesn't just have to be once. Because, like, first off, from a former fat ass, I mean, like, I used to pig out and do this every night,
hmm
and then still do it in the morning and stuff. Like,
yeah,
your stomach doesn't feel good.
yeah, dude. I think you said it best, but from the perspective of a former fat ass, right? When I look at one meal a day, it literally just seems like a hall pass to binge. Like you're literally just saving up all day so you could binge all night and kind of basically go one step backwards of what you're trying to achieve here. You're trying to achieve food freedom. You're trying to achieve like basically the banishing of that food noise that's in your brain. But if you're doing one meal a day and you're not eating till 7, 8 p.m. or whatever, all you're thinking about all day is food. What am I going to eat tonight? Oh my God, I get 3,000 calories tonight. I'm just going to, and then you probably aren't picking the right foods. Your stomach, like you said, your stomach's going to hurt after all that food. The point of food is to make us feel better and feel good. That kind of reverses the effect. I just feel like it's all bad all around for most people.
And the thing about that is, a lot of people will be like, well, like, I'm. A lot of bad choices are made when you're hungry. And the argument's going to be like, well, like, I already have it planned. Like, what if I eat and, like, eat, then have my next meal plan for the next day? Like, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a lot to process to think about, like, oh, I'm gonna have to get 3,000 calories. How am I gonna do that? And you're already like, you're coming back from work, you're feeling like crap. Like, honestly, as a former fat ass, I can't watch people eat and not eat my own thing. So, like, I already have like lunch, kind of like my ground beef and rice prepared. Like, I have food on me, so I don't fall into those urges.
Yep. Yeah, dude. I I that was the first thing I did when I first started trying to lose weight because I don't know why. I mean, it went from this to keto. I don't know why I started. It just feels like it makes sense. You know what I mean? It felt like it made sense in my head. Okay, only if I only eat once, I have to lose weight because I'm suffering all day, and it's kind of like this mental psychological loop that you put yourself through,
And
and
like
then
you
it
said,
never ends up working.
and like you said, you don't make good choices when you're hungry.
Yep.
So there's no way that, like, you're weighing your stuff and you're like, oh, maybe if I add a little bit more, like, that's still 3,000 calories. Like, how many times can you do that
Right.
before it's not 3,000 calories anymore?
Exactly. Because what usually ends up happening is you'll eat a big dinner at 7, and then an hour later you're still hungry because your body's like, what the hell is going on? You didn't give me all this food, and now you're giving me all this food. So let's keep eating. It's just like really bad for your mind, in my opinion. But any final opinions on OMAD, one meal a day? I 0 out of 10. Not good.
0 out of 10, and like I said, why would you eat one meal when you can have three? From former fat ass perspective, why would you have one meal?
That's
if
a
you're
bar.
picking up? Yeah.
That's a bar. All right. All right, the final topic that I wanted to discuss. A lot of people fall into this trap. I certainly did. You probably did. Going all or nothing when you first start your weight loss journey instead of small steps forward. So imagine you have someone who's 350 pounds, doesn't move at all day long, sits at work all day. They eat junk food all day long. You know what I mean? Like nothing good, 0%. And then one day they just decide, okay, I'm gonna run 3 miles, eat only chicken breast, and put myself in a 2,000 calorie deficit. Right? All or nothing mentality. What are your thoughts?
I would ask my brother in Christ. I'd be like, brother, if you liked running and doing and eating chicken breast and all this, why didn't you do it earlier? Or secondly, slow your horses. Let's pick one. And I have a good example for that. Like I have one of my clients. His name's Hunter, and he has a kid, and he's in the same boat as German. And so he's really good about being like active, getting his steps in. But what he has trouble is still kind of being going to the gym and kind of doing some weight resistance. And at first, I made him kind of like a homemade workout thing in his home personal gym. But then he couldn't do it because it was taking too long. So instead of being like, oh, well, like this is not gonna work, we gotta blah blah blah, we changed it. Instead of him being in the gym for 45 minutes, now he's only in there for 15 minutes. Even he's only doing two movements, but it's better than him not stepping foot at all.
100%. I agree. I think an all or nothing mentality, it just literally sets you up for not only failure, but it reduces your chances of doing it the right way next time. Because each time you fail a weight loss effort, you reinforce in your brain that you can't do this, right? So the alternative that we're provoking here is take small steps forward so that because if you have a small win, you're more likely to take another step forward, right? But if you fall on your face, it's harder to get back up. So for this person who, like the example I gave at the beginning, instead of going all or nothing, maybe I would have just had this person literally take a 10-minute walk once a day. Do that for a week. Week two, bump it up to two 10-minute walks, and then maybe just include some extra protein in your meals. Week three, try a 15-minute walk twice a day. You know what I mean? So steps up and up and up so that they gain more and more and more confidence and competence and actually believe that they can do it. Because a good weight loss journey can only come with self belief. If you don't think you can do it, you're manifesting not being able to do it just because that's the identity that you've set out for yourself, if that makes sense.
And you're gonna be your biggest cheerleader. Like the thing about it is, a lot of people can tell you like, hey, like either you need to lose weight or hey, come help me lose weight and stuff like that. But the thing about it is you pretty much have yourself. Cuz from experience, I started kind of like in a weight loss group with a couple friends, and I was the only one that stuck with it. Like that's gonna happen, and you have to find motivation in yourself because what's gonna happen if you rely motivation on other people or like how you feel and stuff? One day you're just not gonna want to go, and that one day is gonna turn into weeks to months to back where you started. So I always think about it. I always say give yourself like weekly wins. If you PR'd, if you did two extra reps, if you look better today than you looked yesterday, give yourself wins because that's the only way you're going to be able to keep pushing yourself.
Yep, and that's exactly the reason why I'm giving this one we'll say 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10, just because it's better than like not doing
One
anything
big
at all, I
boom.
guess. Yeah, one big boom out of 10. We didn't rank keto and carnivore. Let's do that real quick. So keto,
Uh, I'll give keto three big booms.
I
One,
was
two,
I was just
three,
gonna say three. We'll go three, one, two, three, and
and
then
then
carnivore. I'm gonna go two because
I'll give I'll give
protein.
it three because
Okay.
like I said, there's a time and a place for it. Like if I were to go through prep and I was to give somebody a prep, I wouldn't go take the carnivore approach. But I mean, there are some Olympians that take the carnivore approach when it comes to the last couple weeks of their prep. So I'm not gonna say that it's worse.
That's true. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. A lot of solid information out there. If you're someone watching this and you made it to the end and you fell under one of these categories, um,
Hire a
just know,
coach. No, I'm just kidding.
just
No, I'm just
I was
kidding.
gonna say, just know that it's possible for you to break out of it, still continue to eat fun foods and lose weight. And the next thing I was going to say is if you want to expedite that process, hire a coach. It doesn't have to be either of us. If you don't feel like you resonate with the way we talk or the way we handle things, sure, find someone who does. But we do this for a living, and we do give people great results. We've done it for ourselves, and now we help other people. Um, but that's a wrap for today. If you got something out of this, pass it along, send it to someone who you think might also gain some value from this. We'll keep dropping simple, practical episodes every week, just trying to help you guys out and get to know each other better. This is one of our first few times talking to each other, and I've been really enjoying this. So, any last words about any of these fad diets?
No, pretty much like he was saying. I mean, you can pretty much eat anything and lose weight as long as you got to kind of just think about it. I always think about it almost like 1 + 1 = 2. Just kind of figure out what your body needs, and then if you want to put in like some fun foods that's going to work for you, put it in there. But kind of think about what else you're going to be eating throughout the day.
Yes, sir. All right, and with that, that wraps up episode 2. Stay tuned for number 3. If you guys want to see any topics that you want to see us discuss, drop a comment, drop a like, let us know. We're on Instagram. I'm at
Yeah.
Selly Hypertrophy, same as the YouTube channel name, and his Instagram is.
Good question. That's what let me look. It is Carlitos_lift 18.
All right, you want to spell that out because I thought your name was spelled differently. Then there you go.
Yeah, it's right there. Right there.
There you go. All right, sir. It was great to speak with you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
All right. Heck,